Hey, Forest School, Jamie here again, and today we're going to do plants of the day. And the plant that we're going to do today is in a place that some people call the supermarket of the forest, because this place, it has so much to offer, both for wildlife but also for humans too. And so the plant of the day is cattails, and you may be familiar with cattails. You may kind of know what they look like, and they actually have so many uses. And so we're gonna talk a little bit about them. So we have them over here, and as you can see, we have some of the cattails that are a light brown. They look very dry. Those are from last fall and last summer. And then you can see some of the green down in there. Those are the young cattails that are shooting up right now. So cattails, they like to grow in wet, marshy areas. So if you are talking about supermarket of the wild, you could call it Walmarsh or Marshalls. I kid, but they do have so many different uses. So first, we'll talk a little bit about the uses of them. Now, they have a root system that is called a rhizome, and the rhizome is just like a spongy underground root system. It usually goes right down, and then it may branch off horizontally to be able to provide the root system for more cattails to grow. So they will grow root down and then horizontally, and they'll all pop up. And I see some birds right now that are in here. They love to use this area for nesting, hiding, and food, all that sort of stuff. So the rhizome, which is that root system of the cattail, is very similar to like a potato. So if you like potatoes, you may actually enjoy eating the root system of a cattail. Now, just like any type of food that grows wildly outdoors, you want to be careful where you get it, because these rhizomes, they're very spongy. They absorb a lot of different things. Some of those can be pesticides or metals like lead. So just be really careful if you are gonna choose to try to eat some of these plants. Be very careful of where you're getting them. Another reason to not use pesticides in lawns and things like that. So the rhizome, you can bake them. You can also slice them and soak them in water. And the rhizome itself is very starchy, kind of like a potato. And that starch will come off and settle to the bottom, and you're left, if you take the water out after that, you're left with this starchy material that can be used for cooking, almost even like a flour you can make it with. And so, another really cool thing, if you look to Native Americans who've lived in this land for much longer than we have, is they have words for plants, and actually some of the words for plants, they translate to meaning those who teach us. So as we're all learning, I'm learning too. And the more we learn about the plants, the more we can learn about how to live in balance, and even can look at a plant in the wild sometimes and see how they are protecting themselves from the elements. We can borrow those same ideas and use them to protect ourselves. So as you may guess, in regards to protecting ourselves, another use from the cattail is fire starting. So let's see. This is part of the cattail flower, and you see this is where these are the seeds. Now, cattails, within them, they have both male and female parts of the plant, and they're pollinated by the wind. So the male part has little pollen in them, and it can kind of like burst open and blow over the female part, and that's how they continue to reproduce. So this is kind of part of the flower here, but this sort of stuff is great for fire starting. So, you know, you could take some of this and keep it in a fire starting kit, and this would be a nice thing to be able to help you start your fires. They're also super soft. Have you ever felt any of these? They have been used to line moccasins, if you're gonna make those shoes. They've been used to line cradle beds for babies, diapers. You can pad pillows with these. You can make your own pillows if you have your own shelter. So many really amazing, cool uses for these. It's very soft, you know, and it can keep you dry too. So really good, useful thing there. The leaves of the cattail itself, so those green leaves that are kind of far down in there, I'm not gonna try to get in there because it looks a little messy for me today. But those leaves, if you pick them, they are really good for what the cattail uses those leaves for is to keep moisture and water within the leaves, keep itself hydrated, because sometimes those are sticking out of the marsh, they can get hit by the sun, and so they can keep moisture out. Another thing that can keep moisture out can also keep moisture in, and so the leaves aren't meant to keep the moisture outside, but they're actually meant to keep the moisture that they already have in them inside the leaf. So if we're looking at the plant and trying to learn something from it, you could see how keeping moisture in, we can put those on maybe a shelter on the top of it, and it kind of has like a waxy material, and if you line those right, it can keep the moisture out and keep you nice and dry and warm for your shelters. If you're thinking about your shelters for forest school, think about maybe how you may be able to lay those over them, how that would work out. You can also make baskets with them. Let me see what else. I have been forgetting some things. Another really cool thing with the green leaves, the ones that are down here, maybe I can grab one of them. So this is the green leaf. Actually, this is also edible. You want maybe the younger ones too. But just feeling this, it's kind of spongy in there. I can kind of feel it. But look at as I peel this. See how they kind of come off like that in little strands? So these leaves are great for cordage. We've done cordage in forest school. You can actually make some really cool cordage with these. You can also cook them and eat them. So do you see what I mean when I mentioned the supermarket of the outdoors? Cattails, they actually offer so much and are a really incredible plant to be able to use if you find yourself outside looking for materials for survival. Another thing with the leaves, you're gonna want the drier ones or the fluffy little seeds, but they're great for sleeping mats, chairs, and the cattail itself has this gel that is in the leaves and the stalk of it to keep moisture in. And I've heard of some people when they're out actually picking the cattails, they're out under the sun too long. Maybe they forgot to put their sunscreen on and got a little sunburnt. The cattails themselves, they have similar gel. If you've ever tried aloe vera, it's great for sunburn. Cattails themselves also have a nice gel that you can put on your sunburn if you ever get sunburn outside and get stuck out there. So that's really cool too. Let me see if I can remember anything else. Yeah, so there are probably many more uses that I'm even mentioning right now. So if you're interested, feel free to research some more. And but another cool thing, if you're ever, the area that we live in, upstate New York, naturally it's a very wetland area. So I'm sure you could go find these and try some uses out with them. If there's ever an area that is wetland, that is all mud, it's newly mud from with no other plants there, cattails are going to be one of the first plants that are going to be there, kind of colonizing the area. And these little these plants here, they create a lot of habitats for little fish, frogs, birds. So these are going to be one of the most biodiverse areas, just almost similar to an Amazon rainforest in terms of natural. Obviously not so much here, it's just a pond with grass around, but some natural wetlands where you see a lot of cattails. They're going to have a lot of biodiversity, which means many different wildlife and plants, because they all kind of help each other out. So again, this is a great teacher for us to learn from, figure out how we can use it respectfully when we're outside, and keep it around so it's there for us to use and many generations to come. So thanks guys, hope you learned a lot, and we will see you soon.